Round 14 of the 2010 ARLA Elite Series season took place at the Buffalo Downs, a .82-mile dirt track in Buffalo, Wyoming. BIGSBY FOOTE in the 14 led the field to the green flag, his first pole of the season, but he slides up the track coming off of turn 2, opening the door for Jeb Klinger in the number 66 M&J entry. Ricky Navarro in the 34 started on the outside of FOOTE, but right out of the gate he has mechanical troubles, and the 34 slows on the track. Tough break for Ricky Navarro. He's going to lose several laps early on in the going. He hasn't had much success in this series besides his lone win at Daytona in 2005. Jeb Klinger holds the lead with his teammate Kevin Monroe in the 63 right behind him. And then in third is Reed Weber Jr. in the 165, who also hasn't had much success in this series, but when he hasn't had any problems, he's been pretty fast. You just saw Kevin Monroe dive to the inside of the 66. It's going to take him a while to complete the pass, but he does it, and Kevin Monroe takes the lead in the early laps. You can barely see your pole sitter BIGSBY FOOTE behind the leaders. He has fallen out of the top 5. I guess that team did something to the car after qualifying, and it was a mistake. The first caution tool in lap 10, Michael Carter in the 109 gets a little nudge from Aaron Cruz and spins into the wall coming off of turn 2. Carter is going to be the first car to go out of the race. Kevin Monroe leads on the restart with Jeb Klinger in second, Leigh Gurel third, Reed Weber Jr. in fourth, and rounding out the top 5 is Eric Jackson. However, he would quickly be challenged by Taylor Brillin in the 65. Coming to the restart, points leader Andy Pearson has to dive into the pits for a slight mechanical problem. This is really going to set him back. He had a sizable lead coming into this race, but now this will be a nice opportunity for his rivals to catch up to him. A few laps later, Amy Harrison's going to bring her car in for a slight mechanical problem. Harrison was running towards the back in the opening stages of the race, and this obviously is not going to make things much better. However, that 102 crew gets the car back going again. Reed Weber Jr. is starting to fall back a little bit, but he's still running solidly inside the top 15. But still, this is a pretty nice change of pace for him, given all of his bad luck this season. Here's Jason Bates running up inside the top 5, as he's done several times this season and several times in recent years, but he doesn't have any wins to show for it. And you're probably going to notice that Bates is the only car in the top 6 not fielded by M&J Racing. So Bates is doing a nice job holding his ground against the M&J Armada. Kevin Monroe in the 63 continues to hold the lead, but he is slowly being stalked by his teammate and protege Taylor Brillin. They both have a victory under their belts this season. Monroe won the inaugural 120 laps of Dwyer, and then Brillin won at Quincy last week. Ricky Flush is no stranger to mechanical problems this season, and today is going to be more of the same. Car number 31 drops a cylinder, and unfortunately, it's going to be terminal. Flush has been rather critical about the reliability of his Meridian bolt this season, and not without good reason. Caution 2 flew in lap 42. BIGSBY FOOTE, the pole sitter, slides up in front of Todd Stater, who gives him a nudge going into turn 1. They both go hard into the tire barrier. Not sure who to put fault at for this incident. Stater could have backed off going into turn 1, but then again, FOOTE didn't exactly give him a whole lot of room. Kevin Monroe continues to lead on the restart with Taylor Brillin in second. Brenda Riggs has worked her way up to third. She has a bit of extra motivation this weekend. This is the Riggs family's home track, and they've supposedly done a lot of lobbying to get ARLA to schedule a race here. Here is Allie Riggs in the 19, who dominated the second half of the qualifier and has now worked her way up to fourth. And then a couple positions back is her sister Leslie starting to come forward as well. Eric Jackson and Allie Riggs get together and almost cause a wreck coming off of turn 4. They actually went through the entrance to pit road, but thankfully for Riggs and Jackson, ARLA officials decided not to penalize them. Riggs promptly cursed Jackson out over her radio, which I have to say is kind of expected of her. Back up front, Kevin Monroe finally gets a decent challenge for the lead from Taylor Brillin in the 65. Brillin has started to pick up some speed after struggling in the first half of the season. She failed to qualify for several races, and in a lot of the races she has qualified for, she crashed out. Her teammate Bobby Porteau, on the other hand, has had an almost opposite experience. He has 2 wins this season and even led the points for a few weeks. And now he is running in the 3rd position looking for another great finish. There you see Eric Jackson in the 3 starting to put some pressure on him. Henrietta Laverne III in the 00 was the cause of the 3rd yellow. She collides with Siju Dejao in the 37 and sends herself into the turn 1 wall. Laverne has had many struggles this year, and this is going to be more of the same for her. Taylor Brolin gives up the lead under yellow to pit for a slight mechanical problem. This is going to hand the lead to Kevin Monroe on the restart, with Bobby Porto right behind him. Eric Jackson is still up in that top 10. He is running 3rd with Brenda Riggs in 4th and Leslie Riggs in 5th. The issues on Taylor Brolin's car required more than one pit stop. Looks like her car is finally good to go after 2 additional stops. However, when she rejoined the field, she was promptly involved in the next yellow. Brolin was not up to speed when the field caught up to her, and Kurt Walker turns her into the inside wall. The 65 slides down the track, and she's collected by Shane Lake, Lucas Hunter, and Andy Pearson, as if Pearson needed more problems today. Here's the onboard shot from Lake in the 155. There is Brolin spinning down the track just ahead of him. He has nowhere to go. Lake and Hunter are going to go spinning into the turn 1 wall and out of the race. While under yellow, Jason Bates, who had been running in the top 15 all day, blows his engine. Tough break for Bates. He's had many good runs this year and looked to be in line for another one. Kevin Monroe continues to lead on the restart. The top 3 did not change prior to that yellow, but it's about to. There goes Leslie Riggs on the inside of Eric Jackson going for that 3rd spot. A few laps later, Riggs and Jackson would work their way up to the front, and there goes Leslie Riggs making it 3 wide to take the lead. This would be the first time a car not owned by M&J took the lead today, although M&J Racing and Riggs Motorsports are in a very tight technical alliance. Some people have dubbed those 2 organizations as a 10-car team. But a few laps after that, Eric Jackson wrestles the lead away from Riggs. Jackson took over that 3 car at Tampa Bay and has already shown that he can run up front in this series. But before he can get a good result, something bad usually happens to him, including that first race at Tampa where Jason Bates spun him into the pits while they were fighting for the lead. Caution 5, full in lap 80. Tyson Launschlager spins the 102 of Amy Harrison coming off of turn 2. She slides down the track, but luckily nobody hits her, so car number 102 is going to keep going. During that yellow, Benji Flynn becomes the next victim of mechanical troubles. He had been running inside the top 15, but now he's going to lose all of that track position. However, his crew is going to quickly fix the problem and send him back out before he gets put a lap down. Eric Jackson leads on the restart with Bobby Porto right behind him, Leslie Riggs in 3rd, Kevin Monroe 4th, and Jeb Klinger back up in the top 5. After a few laps, Jackson's car really starts to come to life, and he opens up a nice gap over the rest of the field. But he's going to lose all that ground on the next yellow, which flew on lap 97. Dale Underwood blows his engine, and unfortunately, he can't make it back around to the pits. So car number 03 stalls on the track, prompting officials to throw the yellow. Eric Jackson continues to lead on the restart, but before he can get a chance to pull away once again, the next caution flies. This would be the final and arguably scariest incident of the day. Brenda Riggs clips the 24 of Aaron Cruz, sending the 5 of Livia Martinez spinning. Martinez bounces back up into the 67. They fly off the turn 3 banking and go hard into the wall. Martinez and Riggs would climb out of their cars, but I seriously doubt Martinez is going to be happy about this. You've really got no excuse for wrecking someone on the straightaway like that. Once again, Eric Jackson leads on the restart, but look who is in 4th, Benji Flynn, who has clawed his way towards the front ever since having that weird little mechanical problem. That 9 has easily been the fastest car on the track ever since that second to last restart. He's picked up at least 1 position per lap since then. Jeb Klinger in the 66 takes the 2nd spot from Leslie Riggs. He's apparently been saving his stuff for the end of the race. Klinger turned 76 at the beginning of August, but he's shown that he can still run up front in this series. But he apparently failed to take into account how fast Benji Flynn is. Going 3 wide with Klinger and Bobby Porto, Benji Flynn is able to clear them on the outside, something that has been almost unheard of today. And then with less than 5 laps to go, Benji Flynn gets around Eric Jackson to take the lead. There is Namimura running in the 3rd spot. She's looking to take advantage if either of these drivers make a mistake, but it would be smooth sailing for Benji Flynn as he cruises on to take his first ARLA Elite Series victory. This would also be the first win for Griesberger Racing since, I believe, 2007, when Ryan Baldwell got their last win. Baldwell, of course, races for that team in the TM Junior Series. And here are your top 10 finishers. Namimura has another good run on a short track. I believe she finished 5th at Memphis a while back. After Mura passed him, Eric Jackson lost 3rd to Bobby Porto. Jeb Klinger finished 5th, Leslie Riggs in 6th, Kevin Monroe 7th, Kurt Walker 8th, Rick Tyler puts together another good run. He finished 9th, and Allie Riggs has had a very dismal season this year, but she puts together a 10th place effort. I would also like to point out that after the race, more than a couple of teams raised questions about the 9-car Benji Flynn. We're going to have to see what the officials say about that. And now, here are the top 10 in points. Andy Pearson had a variety of problems today, but he still manages to hang on to the lead. However, his advantage has shrunk to 5 points over Bobby Porto. Kevin Monroe moves up to 3rd. Jason Bates drops to 4th after blowing his engine. Brenda Riggs continues to run 5th, 129 points back. Packer Carroll takes 6th from Ricky Navarro. Kurt Walker runs 8th, Leslie Riggs is in 9th, and Alex Carson drops to 10th.